Nah, ini udah kayaknya nih. Yuk, mari kita coba main The Centennial Case a Shijima Story. Dengar-dengar sih bagus. Dengar-dengar doang. Udah nongol belum, Mol?
Udah.
Kayak movie gitu dia.
Hmm.
Oi, astagfirullah. Gue pasti pengennya pakai bahasa Indonesia, bahasa Inggris ya. Ya kita coba tangannya pakai. Harus bisa language audio English. Kalau soundnya agak gede nih. Dah. Alright. Semoga suka ya, Mol ya.
Oke.
Kalau di YouTube delaynya dikit ya.
Lumayan, dikit. Lebih dikit daripada Discord.
Yap. Gambarnya bagus nggak?
Oke.
Oke. Handphoneku mana ya? Ntar ngambil handphone dulu.
Bajunya ganti, Kak.
Thank you.
So weird.
AG!
You're quite the success. You're a bona fide best-selling mystery writer now, Haruka. Oh, here.
We couldn't have done it without your help, AG. Thank you.
It's nothing.
You should have told me you were coming. You didn't have to wait in line. Did you really come here for my autograph? Or are you here to see Akari?
No, it's not like that.
Huh?
I mean, let's just say I wanted to see the both of you. Actually, I have a favor to ask of you.
A favor?
Yeah. There's a once-in-a-century succession at my family home. And I was hoping you could get some information for me.
Your family home? You mean that grand estate at the foot of Mount Fuji?
That's right. My family has spent many years on medical research.
Pasti.
In particular, how to stop
Mahal
the
tuh
aging
pasti.
process.
Iya di bawah Gunung Fuji.
It's embarrassing, but I had a huge fight with my father that ended with me leaving the family. And that's why I want you to do some investigating while pretending to write a feature story.
What are we investigating?
The so-called fruit of youth. It's been passed down for generations in my family and a recently unearthed skeleton.
At 3 p.m. yesterday, the police were informed that skeletal remains had been found at an estate in Penmamura, Fujimine County, Shizuoka. The remains, of indeterminate age and gender, were buried under a large cherry tree. The police are trying to establish the identity of the deceased.
Suara game-nya kegedean nggak?
Oh, oke.
Oke.
Hmm?
Oke, lanjut. Prologue, The Cherry Blossom Ceremony. Maca bikinnya gitu ya? Yoko Shijima. Nah, itu ditambah air lagi nggak ya? Atau emang sekentol itu?
Tanya Cici Koe.
Anjir, peramat lu. Yoko, 50 years old. Ryoi wave.
Who'd have thought? E.g., a literary consultant.
10 tahun?
Yes.
Aduh, itu di
Haruka
bawah.
here writes mystery novels, and he makes sure
Siapa?
that all
Dia
the
nih.
science is sound.
Yang si sebelah kiri.
So, does he come up with the crime tricks
Yoko,
too?
Yoko.
No. I devised them
Mudah
myself.
banget.
That's amazing.
Lu umur 50 ya?
I read mysteries sometimes, but I never know who the culprit is.
Se.
Is there some secret to figuring them out?
Well, it sounds obvious, but every story contains a mystery. And there will always be clues to help solve that mystery. Just try to connect these clues, and somehow you'll arrive at a hypothesis.
Connect the clues to the mystery.
Yes. Every story has a mystery, as well as clues to help solve that mystery. In this cognitive space, I fit the mystery and clues together like a puzzle, come up with a hypothesis, and build a connected path of logic.
And I'm here to help with the reasoning, huh?
Yes, but remember, you're just an image of AG inside my head.
Well, then,
Let's give it a shot.
Hipotesa apaan, Mol?
Dugaan sementara.
Oke. Ini masih baru tutorial ya. Yesus. Alright.
Well, something like that.
I see.
Connect the clues to the mystery and form a hypothesis. That's how you read a mystery novel.
Akari, you are an editor, right? How do you know E.G.?
I met him when we were looking for an advisor on scientific matters. We practically forced him to arrange today's session as well. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet us.
Akari 36.
Ryoya insist on it. Please, make yourselves
Haruka
comfortable.
28.
Thank you.
AG 3. AG nih, AG.
Oh, that looks very good on you.
35 kayak masih 20-an ya, anjir.
You look so handsome in it.
She's right. I barely recognize you.
well, I can't attend the cherry blossom ceremony in my regular clothes. It was all laid out for me, and most importantly...
Nah, Mol, pilih apa, Mol?
X.
Gas. Ini kok yang milih ya? Ya, oke.
You wanted to look in for Akari?
Of course not.
Lu suka ngetising-tising
All the
ya,
same.
anjir.
I'm glad there was a spare kimono for him.
Whose kimono is it?
Actually, this kimono was made for me a long time ago.
Oh.
Oh, we have guests. I'm sorry for intruding. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Sorry. Have we
Weird ya,
met?
weird.
Yoyo's only been with us for 3 years. Or perhaps you know one another from before?
No,
Yayoi Kasuga.
there's just a familiar scent in the air.
That's
Kasuga tuh
probably
kayak
me. I'm wearing a perfume
seorang yang
with
kita
citrus
kenal
notes.
gitu.
Iya.
Now that you
Ichiban
mention
Kasuga.
it, that does smell refreshing. Anyway, this is our live-in housekeeper.
Oh, udah mau pindah HP nggak
Yayoi.
apa-apa ya, Mol?
You wanted to see me?
Mr. Shijima asked me to gather the equipment for the cherry blossom ceremony, but I just can't find some of the items.
Let's look for them together, shall we?
Kok kayak seneng gitu sih ada
EG.
item yang hilang.
I will join you later. Everyone, please go on ahead to the Shijima cherry tree.
Ini ya, Discord gue mute aja ya, Mol ya, lupa gue. Di game aja ya ngomongnya ya.
Nggak apa-apa.
Bawel lu. Biar nyambung sama
So,
cerita yang aku
is
tanyain.
that your mother, Eiji?
Or perhaps your stepmother?
Oh, stepmother.
How did you
Oh.
know?
Oh, well.
Kau dari mana mau kalau dia stepmother? Ya. There seem to be some distance between you two. Well, Eiji's birth mother. Okay. Alright. I'm glad there was spare kimono for him. Yoko seemed happy that there was a spare kimono for Eiji. If for her mother, she'd known that he had a kimono. Iya, benar juga ya. There's a chance Yoko isn't Eiji's birth mother. Complete. Halo Mol, halo. Oke. Lanjut. Pilih yang mana nih?
Yang kanan aja kali ya.
Yang mana tuh?
She didn't know you had your own kimono.
Alright. Subtitle kebaca nggak Mol? Atau burem?
It seemed like she didn't know you had your own kimono.
Okay.
A mother would definitely have known, and anyway, she's too young.
Very observant, Haruka.
Also, you were about to say something earlier, weren't you? Most importantly, my mother gave me this kimono. Is that what you were going to say?
Yoko is my father's second wife. They got married after I left the family.
I see. Well, she seems nice.
Yeah. I guess.
She was in the house when the skeleton was found, correct? I've got to ask her about that later.
Just remember, you're supposed to be writing about the ceremony. I can't imagine what my father would say if he finds out what I've asked you to do.
What? Is he that scary?
Well, you'll see when you meet him.
Sure.
Well then, let's go see the cherry tree.
Tapi emang kimononya bagus ya.
Bagus. Itu bagus sih. Dia pasti orang
Wow.
tajir lah, dia orang rumahnya gede banget.
So this is the Shijima cherry tree.
In bloom for the first time in 100 years.
The skeleton was found under this tree, right?
Yeah. Who killed and buried that sad soul here, I wonder?
Killed?
Kill?
The skeleton's chest bones had marks that suggested a knife wound, apparently.
But then, shouldn't the police be investigating this?
My father's in a standoff with the police right now. He told them not to say anything until the remains were identified. But somehow, the story got leaked to the media. But the remains are nearly 100 years old, apparently. So the police have no reason to hurry. That's why I want to solve this mystery.
So what you want to know is,
Apa nih Mol?
B.
the killer from 100 years ago, right?
The identities of both the skeleton and the killer.
Say you do uncover the truth about this 100-year-old murder, then what?
It's of great importance to me, actually. I suspect that skeleton has something to do with the Shijima family's fruit of youth.
You've mentioned that fruit before. What is it?
More precisely, the Tokijiku no Kaku no Konomi. According to my mother, anyone who consumes this fruit will stop aging forever. It's mentioned in the Kojiki Chronicles. This fruit of youth has been passed down for generations in my family. Although I've never seen it, and my father won't tell me anything about it.
But if it's somewhere in that house, I'm going to find it and rewrite the future of medicine.
Eiji, you realize it's strange for a scientist to be saying all that, right?
But it isn't strange at all. Science offers countermeasures to aging.
Really?
The telomeres at the ends of the human chromosome determines how many times a cell can divide. They're like game tokens, and aging is what happens when tokens get spent. But some forms of life have an endless supply of these tokens.
Endless?
Yeah. Cancer cells, for example. They're able to multiply infinitely because their telomeres constantly repair themselves. In effect, they're ageless. That's why it isn't totally bizarre that a fruit might contain components that stop aging.
A fruit that makes people ageless. And it's called the,
Ingat nggak, Mal? Ayo. Enggak ya udah.
Tokijiku no.
Tokijiku's fine.
What does this Tokijiku have to do with our skeleton?
I found an account of a murder committed 100 years ago, and it mentions the Tokijiku. Based on the proximity and dates, that skeleton might just be related to this case.
A murder?
I don't know the details, but the Shijima family history is full of unsolved cases, unnatural deaths, that sort of thing. Please, Haruka, I want to know the Tokijiku's whereabouts and the truth behind my family's involvement in that skeleton. Will you help me?
Oh nggak, Mal?
Yeah, of course.
Alright.
I'd be glad to help.
Kalau Mas Ganteng bilang mah
But
saya
where
oke
should I
aja.
start?
Hai.
I have
Hindi
just
ganteng
the
tapi.
reading material for you.
Reading material?
And it's right up your...
Untuk
Didn't
umur
think you'd be the first one
35
here.
tahun.
Long time no see, Eiji.
You really think you can just waltz back in here and interfere with the family's succession?
You're Haruka Kagami, aren't you? Author of the Detective Makoto Nishimari series.
You know about it?
Of course. Look, Kazunaga. She created Makoto Nishimari. You know, with the cool catchphrase, the path of logic lines up.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
This is Haruka Kagami, a writer,
What a jerk.
and her editor, Akari Yamase. My older brother, Kazunaga, and my younger brother, Mitsunori.
Nice to meet you. Just wondering, what brings you two here?
Haruka's writing a feature story.
About the skeleton under the cherry tree. I bet a mystery writer like you can't get enough.
Mal? What a jerk.
Aku B aja deh.
I don't need to play nice with him. I'm dying to know more is the answer you're looking for, yes?
Given your expertise, why don't you try figuring it out yourself? The identity of that skeleton, I mean. Then you can proclaim the path of logic lines up.
Of course. I'll look into it.
Yeah. So weird.
Thank you for having us.
Eiji, long time no see.
Dad, you're looking well.
You look terrible in a kimono.
Then it's good that I'll never have to wear one for work.
Not that you look any better in a lab coat, mind you. After leaving the family, what exactly have you been researching?
That's none of your business.
So be it. Welcome. I am Ryoei Shijima.
Shijima.
And you must be the best-selling writer.
Best-selling writer. Wow. Apa mal?
Banyak tanda tangan makanya tadi.
Woi, pilih.
X.
Yes, I'm indebted to AG for all his help.
So you're interested in our cherry blossom ceremony? This ceremony is an important family tradition, held once every 100 years. Feel free to take part and ask questions, but I ask you not to interfere. We don't usually let outsiders attend, after all.
We understand. Thank you. I promise we won't cause any inconvenience.
To be honest, that skeleton has attracted a lot of unwanted media attention. Such a nuisance.
I'm counting on you.
If this story of yours can help clarify matters, we'd be very grateful.
Who's that?
Oh, that's our gardener, Takehiko Kusakari. He's looked after this cherry tree for us for many years.
Excellent work. You should be proud, Kusakari.
It's my pleasure, sir.
Takehiko Kusakari.
Then let us begin.
Udah pernah ke Jepang belum, Mol?
Sana yuk.
Boleh kapan-kapan ya. Ini kayak apa sih sebutannya nih? Kredit ya? Skip aja ya, kredit ya. Ini nggak bisa anjir skip.
Oke ya.
Alright. Minum dulu dong. Cheers.
Anyo gemoy banget pakai baju ketekan.
Mau lihat ketek?
Enggak. Acung.
The Centennial case, Shijima story. Centennial.
Shijima.
Lanjut.
About Ryoe. How much does he know about me?
What do you mean?
Something he said makes me think that...
Wow. Lagi dan lagi. Has you heard of Haruka? Haruka. He read the interview. Okay.
He read.
He read the interview. He didn't look good in the lab coat. Oh, the interview. Shijima. Masuk akal. Must be the best-selling writer. Doesn't know. All right. Complete. Masih gampang ya bang ya. Pilih.
A aja kali ya.
Serah mau aneh.
I think whatever he knows about me comes from reading the interview. He said that AG didn't look good in a lab coat. He must have seen the picture of AG in that interview.
Of course he did. I sent it to him in advance, after all. And I also told him about you, Haruka Kagami, a best-selling writer.
You didn't tell him I was a mystery writer?
Well, do you think he'd really let a pop fiction writer come in here to do a story about their centuries-old tradition?
I think he would. By the way, where did everyone go?
Oh, they're lighting incense at the altar.
What's the matter?
It's nothing. Just seem to have lost my phone strap. Maybe back at the cherry tree? I'll take a look later. Anyway, what do you make of everything so far?
The cherry blossom ceremony, this estate, the skeleton, and this Tokijiku business. Everything's a mystery. That reminds me, you mentioned some reading material?
Ah, right. This could be our first clue, I think. Eiji found it, by the way.
Shinseinen, the very first magazine to publish Edogawa Rampo.
You sure know your stuff. This issue, published nearly 100 years ago, contains the first part of a novel. The writer's name is Yoshino Shijima.
Shijima? As in one of Eiji's ancestors?
It was supposed to be a serial novel, but for some reason the other parts were never published. And guess what? The Tokijiku appears in the story. This is a 100-year-old murder case that Eiji mentioned.
But it's fiction, right?
It's presented that way. Yes, but what's written here actually happened.
So, it's a true story?
If you read this, you'll learn about what happened to the Tokijiku in the Taisho era.
All right, I'll get started.
But there's just one problem.
Huh?
Some pages have holes in them, some are missing. It's not a complete story, I'm afraid.
You're right. This looks painful to read. It's full of archaic
Boleh
expressions,
juga.
too.
Pokoknya boleh juga.
But
Enggak,
in your hands,
jalan
it just might be
ceritanya.
solved.
Oh, iya iya iya. Semoga kamu
How
enjoy ya.
about imagining
Kenapa
the
mukanya
characters
panik
as people
gitu?
you know in real life? For example, the young protagonist. She wants to be a writer. That sounds very much like you, doesn't it?
Then, what about this partner of hers, Josie? Who would this be?
A smart, somewhat aloof man. Does anyone come to mind?
Pilih.
Eiji.
AG.
Eiji, I guess.
What's important is how easy it is for your imagination. Focus on that.
Right. And as for the other characters...
You could try imagining them as people from the Shijima household.
The Shijima household? Of course, I'll give it a shot.
All right.
We first met in the spring of 1922, the 11th year of the Taisho era. Industries languished after
Sebel nih
the
orang
end of the
nonton
Great
kayak
War,
gini.
and disease ravaged the country once more.
Tahu.
Many lives were lost during those dark days.
Oke cerita ya, sabar ya.
But that was precisely why we pursued the joys and ambitions of life with even greater zeal. Democracy. The human right to liberty and equality. The flowers of modernity had bloomed, and they were growing out from the skulls of our dead.
Chapter 1, The Wandering Mummy.
On that day, somewhere in Tokyo, at the residence of one Ginsaku Goto, a private auction was about to start. I heard rumors that the Tokijiku, the so-called fruit of youth, would be up for sale, and so I was on the lookout for a way in. All for the sake of
Sakura ya?
that fruit.
Haruka.
Oh, Haruka.
Ya, Haruka.
Setsu.
I'm very much looking forward to today, Ginsaku.
As am I, dear Setsu. Well, please come in.
Come in.
You too, Setsu.
Not here.
Wah.
Interesting. Ugh! I'm sorry.
Could I have that back, please?
Sorry. Excuse me. That's pig's blood, isn't it? What's it for? That's an awfully fancy bottle for pig's blood. We had pigs back home, you see. I remember it well, since my darling pigs kept getting turned into food.
You can tell from just one look.
Well...
This is a very precious item.
Pilih. Halo?
B aja deh, ngintilin.
Yang mana? B. I can take along.
B.
Alright.
If so, maybe I can tag along. What are you gonna sell it as, huh? A panacea? Or dragon's blood, perhaps?
Who are you?
Yoshino Shijima udah gak ada pilihan lagi.
I'm Yoshino Shijima.
Shijima ya. Only daughter of the Shijima family.
You're taking part in that private auction, aren't you? I'd like to attend as well. But I heard that every participant has to bring some item related to eternal youth or immortality. She seems to be an exception, though.
Who?
The woman who went inside. I'm pretty sure she has a special relationship with the organizer. I guess people like her are welcome too.
Why do you think that?
They touched each other discreetly, so the man beside them wouldn't notice. They seemed used to that. Wait! Don't go. You don't want me telling everyone that it's just pig's blood, do you?
What do you want from me?
Call me your companion or whatever. Just take me inside with you. Please!
Your reasoning is flawed. That woman is a legitimate participant.
Hey, wait!
Are you coming?
You let me in.
You've got a keen eye. It might come in handy.
Thank you.
Oh, welcome.
The name's Josui Kusaka. I heard about the auction from Setsu.
You knew who she was? That's not fair.
Yes, she mentioned you. Josui, yes? Setsu's
Josui
already
Kusaka.
inside. And this is?
She's my traveling companion. Please don't mind her.
I see. Well, then come in. Have some tea while we wait for the auction to start. Is something wrong?
Serem.
Pilih.
Nothing dulu lah, it's nothing. Seperti biasa.
Hei.
It's nothing.
Kalau ditanya, nggak apa-apa.
Padahal mah ini ya. Kelihatan ya.
I had infiltrated the auction with some unexpected assistance. Now I needed an opportunity to seize the Tokijiku. Let's do this.
Kayak sinetron Indonesia yang
This
dipikirnya
is going to
diomongin.
turn into a romance plot with Eiji, isn't it?
You mean Josui, right? Not Eiji. You're just borrowing faces and voices, remember?
That's right. Back to the story.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. I'm the head of this estate, Ginsaku Goto. The auction will begin at noon, about an hour from now. Please make yourselves at home until then.
Nice to meet you, everyone. My name is Kinu Kotomiya, and I deal in antiques. As you must have heard from Ginsaku, all of today's items have some relation to eternal youth. The items you've brought will be put on display, and you'll bid for items that catch your fancy. It's time to show us how skilled you are at buying low and selling high. I hope we have an exhilarating auction.
I know anything to do with eternal youth is probably a scam, but I just love the idea of it. The romance.
What did everyone bring? Oh, I can't wait.
I hear you're a collector of strange and bizarre tales, Setsu.
Yes, that's why my curiosity is so easily piqued. What have you brought?
So weird.
Dragon's blood.
Dragon's
Long
blood.
sought after by those in power. Its ability to grant eternal youth is celebrated in legends throughout.
Iya.
Well, dragon's blood. A thing of immense value if it were real.
Real.
A shame it's pig's blood.
Well, my item was once kept in a certain Hachiman shrine and venerated as a relic. Legend says it's the sword of Taira no Masakado.
Lord Masakado?
Indeed. Lord Masakado was beheaded, and some accounts say his
Beheaded
head
di
never
penggal ya,
rotted.
beheaded deh.
One could say that his sword is connected to agelessness too.
Let me hold it.
Be careful.
Tetsu nih kayaknya
Whose blood does it
ngeselin
thirst
juga
for
ya.
today? I
Seram,
wonder.
Iya serem anjir itu. Tetsu,
And as
Tetsu.
for my item, are you familiar with the legend of the Tokijiku no Kaku no Konomi?
Tokijiku.
It's what Tajimomori found in the mythical land across the seas, isn't it?
I see you've done your research.
It's my job, after all.
Masanori is a medical researcher who also works for the Army Institute of Scientific Research.
I'm investigating ways to make soldiers stronger, and that includes the topic of agelessness.
Apparently, a certain family has been watching over the fruit of youth for generations.
Well, that's news to me.
But then this family fell into ruin and all the Tokijiku were lost. Although, I somehow managed to get my hands on one. Look!
It was indeed a Tokijiku, the very same one I'd been trying to find. No, to reclaim.
Everything I've heard. So I thought maybe, just maybe, this could be the real deal.
Oh, you're all experts at this, aren't you? Now then, we can't leave your valuable items lying around like this. We'll store them in a locked room until the auction starts. This way, please.
Let's go.
That leads to the basement.
Hold on a second.
Huh?
You're after the Tokijiku, aren't you?
Pilih, pilih, pilih.
B, B, B.
Why do you think that?
If you won't be honest with me, you can go back outside.
Something the matter, Josui?
Ah, I'm sorry. My companion wandered off.
As they always do. This way, please.
Don't think you're off the hook.
Are
Yeah.
you sure it's safe to put everything in here?
This door will be locked from the outside, and I'll guard this with the utmost care, so there's nothing to worry about.
What is this?
Oh, don't touch that. That's my item for the auction.
It's quite large.
Indeed. Let's have a look, shall we? Just a peek, though. One careless move, and we'll all be cursed.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a mummy. You've all heard stories about how consuming a mummy grants longevity, I suppose.
Consuming a mummy, anjir.
But this is no ordinary mummy. This here is a living corpse. Some claim it wanders the night in search of human blood.
Ooh, so scary.
Whether this form of eternal life brings happiness is another question altogether, of course.
Let's return to the manor. There's still time before the auction begins at noon. Some light refreshments in the lounge, perhaps.
Yes.
What'll it be? Speak or leave now.
I'm going to reclaim the Tokijiku. It belongs to my family, after all.
Your family?
Yes, my family situation is somewhat complicated. My father entrusted me with the Tokijiku when he told me to leave our house. But I didn't know where to go. Then I came down with a fever and fell asleep in some temple. And when I awoke...
The Tokijiku was gone.
Yes. I searched everywhere, to no avail. That's when I heard about this auction from an antiques dealer. I knew it'd be here. But there was no way I could scrounge up what I needed to get inside. That fruit is very precious to me. I have to get it back, no matter what.
It seems you and I have the same goal.
Alright.
What?
I'm also here to steal the Tokijiku. I never intended to take part in the auction. What do you say to working together? We'll join forces to get the Tokijiku.
Apa, Mol?
X.
I could use the help. But I can't let it fall into your...
We'll discuss that later. In any case, you still seem to be in bad shape. It's fine if you want to make an enemy of me. But then, I'll tell everyone the truth about you.
Lambe tura.
But
No means no, Setsu.
Come on, Ginsaku, please.
I have a reputation to uphold.
But it's a brilliant idea, isn't it?
I won't allow it. You are not getting this key.
Don't worry. No one will suspect a thing. I'll just tamper with their items a bit, you know? Make it look like mice got into the room. Then, our items will go for higher prices. And we can get theirs for cheap.
I've already told you no. My dear Setsu.
Oh, my
Don't
dear,
you realize how crass you sound right now?
You have to understand, Kinsaku. I told so many people about this auction and gathered all these items here. All because I want you to live even just a little bit longer.
Manis sekali
You'll
mulutnya,
give
Bang.
me the key, won't you?
Uluh juga anjir, emang mulut cewek itu yang bahaya ya.
No one can know that you got the key from me.
Masih
Return it
The
when you're
key
done.
was given to Setsu in secret, okay.
What's wrong?
Oh.
You're burning up.
I'll be fine. You must get the Tokijiku.
Gigi pasin. Baik banget.
Not again. How long was I out for?
About 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Then it's almost noon. The auction will start without us.
It can wait. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. We've got to find the Tokijiku.
kayak agak
So will it
romance
be?
ya.
Totuit
I
ya.
think it's best for us to work together.
Yo, pilih. Asi Moren milihnya nih.
Iya.
X deng. Salah.
Fine. The Tokijiku is mine, though.
Lala.
If you say so. You've got grit, I like that.
Great.
Setsu hasn't returned yet from inside the storeroom.
Tinggal tak ketahuan ya,
And she's
ngintip-ngintip
alone in
ya.
there. Now's our chance to get the fruit.
Let's go. Can you walk?
Yes.
The door's locked.
We missed the perfect opportunity. I'm sorry. If only I hadn't passed out.
Who's there? Ah, it's you two. Everyone's looking for you. What were you doing here?
Well,
Just what are you up to?
We'll be honest with you. We saw Setsu ask Ginsaku to give her the key to this room. I thought she might do something to the auction items, so he came to take a look.
Setsu has the key? Are you sure?
Yes. But she doesn't seem to be here anymore. She must have gone back to the manor.
Actually, she's not there either.
What?
What?
Not even in Ginsaku's room.
Indeed. The auction is going to start any minute now. Are you sure she's still not in there?
The door is locked.
Setsu! Setsu! Are you in there? Setsu!
Along the corridor. Wow.
This is. Wait! Is this. blood?
Mal.
X dulu kali ya?
Is someone at the end of the corridor?
Lampunya lagian lampionnya nggak terang amat ya. Cuman gitu doang. Oh, 1922 deng, lupa. Jadul. Oh no.
It's alive! It's alive!
Oh, pas jam 12.
He moved! He moved! He moved!
What's going on?
The mummy! The mummy's alive! That masked mummy, the one Ginsaku brought.
It was holding a sword covered in blood!
How absurd. Are you sure you aren't imagining things?
Yes, I saw it with my own eyes. There were red stains in front of the storeroom door, and they were all along the corridor. And then there it was.
tenang banget.
Kinu, have you been here the whole time since the items went in the storeroom?
No, I've just been wandering about the manor. Ginsaku and Masanori also went about their business, I'm sure.
So everyone was in separate places.
Where did Setsu go?
Ginsaku, where have you been?
Oh, Setsu's missing. I've been looking for her the whole time.
Perhaps she was killed by the mummy. Perhaps she touched something she wasn't supposed to, and this is her punishment.
Ginsaku, you gave Setsu the key to the storeroom, didn't you?
I don't know what
We
you're...
actually saw you hand over the key to her. She was going to damage the other items to reduce their value, isn't that right?
I told her... I was against it, but Setsu...
Is there a duplicate key?
No. That was the only key.
The door to the storeroom was locked just now. We saw the mummy outside the room, which means...
I see. That mummy must have taken the key from Setsu and then locked the door.
Wait a minute. What's all this about the mummy?
Your mummy, Ginsaku, might be a real living corpse after all.
Yuk, pilih-pilih.
X aja kali ya?
Oke. Tuh kue lama
In any
mikir
case,
dulu atau gimana?
First, we have to find Setsu.
Mikir.
Oke. Oke, it's okay.
Masanori, you'll go.
Me?
You're in the army, aren't you? You're probably the only man here who could win a fight. We're counting on you.
Fine.
Kayaknya mukanya lucu banget. Kayaknya takut ya.
Enggak lah anjir, ini mah cupu ini mah.
Dia pergi sendiri.
Iya, sakti ya? Benar-benar.
Well?
I searched every inch of the manor, but
How about the storeroom?
I looked around it, but couldn't get inside. The door is still locked after all.
Apa nih? Mikir atau
X
tidur?
atau B?
Iya, aku yang mau X atau B.
X.
Alright.
Well, let's go and check the storeroom together.
Together.
Good idea.
Together. Ah, yeah.
Let's bring something to break the lock with.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Wih, Joshua. Oh no.
Setsu!
Terrible!
The storm was in Spain.
The Tokichiku! It's gone!
The mummy.
There it
Berani
is.
banget dia.
Iya, ya.
Just a dried up old mummy. But then, what did we see earlier?
There's blood around the mummy. Ada kunci juga.
We have to inform the police.
Wait. An investigation will be bad for both of us. Who knows what we'll be accused of?
You think we should run away?
If we run now, everyone will think we did it.
Then, what can we do?
We'll have to inform the police eventually.
But then we'll be suspects.
That's why we'll figure it out first.
Calm
Before
down,
the
dude.
police get here,
Galak banget.
we'll
Lagi
find the
panik
killer
nih.
and prove it with hard evidence.
Hard evidence, of course.
What happened today? Who did what and where? We have to recall every last detail. There must be a clue somewhere.
Wih, udah bahas-bahas ke lu nih.
And when we find the killer, I'm sure we'll find the Tokijiku too.
Plot twist banget gak sih kalau ternyata si ini nih dia tuh, si Kimono.
Kimono tuh yang cewek yang cowok?
Cowok.
Oh, oke. Bisa jadi
AG.
Soyue. Di sini bukan Eiji, Soyue.
The victim is Setsu, a collector of strange tales. Her body was found in a locked storeroom in the basement with her throat slit. The murder weapon was probably the blood-stained sword in the mummy's hand.
We caught sight of the mummy
Josui.
around the time of the murder. Aside from the sword, the mummy was also
Kan
holding the
Josui
stolen
bareng si
key.
ceweknya terus.
Tapi kan yang 20 menit itu dia nggak ada.
Oh, yang si pingsan ceweknya itu ya?
We have what appears to be a killer mummy.
Jadi bisa jadi.
What could be the truth behind this case?
Recall dulu nih.
Banyak.
Iya banyak nih. Ini harus dipilih soalnya. Kan. Oh ini.
Living
Oh, Living
Corpse.
Corpse, yes. The mummy was alive. Oh.
Mam.
So in the basement was a real living mummy. But it must have wandered around crawling on. Okay. Mummy bandage.
The mummy was seen in the corridor.
Tapi kan masih hipotesis semua ini. Maksud nyari-nyari kemungkinan kan di sini.
Makes sense.
Mas Bila ya, nggak mungkin arwah lah ya.
Iya.
Masih panjang hipotesisnya, sabar ya bang. Tuh. Oh, stick aku udah agak error nih. Was someone disguised as the mummy? Masanori. Jadi double, waduh. Juga ya? Double, what? Ginsaku Goto. Ginsaku was disguised as the was late and cooked. What?
Sense juga.
Make sense? Kinu. It was disguised as the mummy. Tapi kan dia paling cepat datangnya ya. Perhaps Kinu was.
Coba dia geser lagi, dia digeser kiri.
Bentar ya, satu lagi aja. No one at the entrance hall was the mummy. Yang mana, Mol? Kiri ini maksudnya.
Oh.
Kurang?
Sebelah lagi. Tokijiku yang mana ya? Tokijiku yang ini ya, fruitnya ya?
Ya, Tokijiku fruitnya, iya bener. Tokijiku fruitnya.
Oh, oke. Maaf.
Oke, nggak apa-apa. Apa itu? Nih, everyone surprised at the mummy.
Everyone ya Nyau.
Everyone, someone wanted to shock everyone with the mummy.
Kayaknya nggak everyone deh.
Di Ginsaku enggak kan? Karena dia udah ada tahu. The mummy seen in the corridor. Masih nangkep mall sejauh ini? Atau ada yang mau
Dikit.
ditanyakan? Kok dikit sih?
Kamu?
Kok dikit?
Kalau kamu gimana?
Lumayan.
Tokijiku dia Tokijiku dulu.
Tokijiku. Oh iya, bentar. Oh, undo the bandage sekarang masih ya, karena banyak ini ya kain-kain jadulnya itu ya. Jadi nggak usah pakai bandage sebenarnya. Udah bisa, jadi bisa cepet dong. Gue pengen apa? Tokijiku.
Mami bandage. Itu pertanyaannya apa sih? Enggak yang
pertanyaan ini.
itu.
What was used for the disguise? What was used for the disguise? Nih, the bloody sword, the mummy was apa tuh? Aduh, stick gue udah ke error. The vial of the dragon's blood.
Kalau kayak gitu berarti salah ya?
Bener, yang bisa masuk ke sebelah kiri tuh udah pasti bener. Anda kan kayak masukin clue sama pertanyaan kan, nah itu jadi hipotesis kan. The red liquid on the sword must have dragon's blood. Guys,
Kayak tumpah kan tuh si dragon blood.
ceceran tuh ya. Satu lagi nih. Apa sih? What was used for the disguise?
Coba kegeser lagi, mungkin ada yang lebih penting.
Iya, bentar ya. Tapi aku agak error L1-nya suwe. Garansin kali ya. Itu jadul. Tokijiku nih, Tokijiku. The Tokijiku wasn't used in the disguise. Iyalah. Apa? Oh, disguise doesn't require the Tokijiku. But it was missing when we entered the storeroom again. Oh, berarti mau ngambil Tokijiku-nya nggak sih?
Iya, makanya hilang.
Iya, sabar ya. Ini apa nih? What did the killer use in the murder? Alright.
Sword.
The sword of the.
The sword.
Sword of the Masakado. Taira no Masakado sword was one of the auction item. Wah, anjir. Ada cut wound or neck. Nggak serem ya kalau ngebayangin beneran ya. Lu nggak dikasih lihat tadi. Dragon's blood.
Ini mungkin PG.
Hah? PJ?
Ah, Dragon's Blood.
Iya, Dragon's Blood. Hah? Seriously? Lol, agak-agak aneh yang ini ya.
Kamu yang mikirnya itu. Kan kamu pilih alasan dia matinya karena Dragon's Blood.
Iya juga ya. Jadi dikasih hipotesis ya, tapi kayaknya agak nggak mungkin ya. Nah ini baru bisa masuk akal tuh dibikin bloodstain. Ya boleh lah. This one?
FK.
FK. Oke, mau kemana tuh?
Ayo pindah ke handphone.
Oke. Tokijiku. Jelas matinya dipotong lehernya.
Hai, bentar.
Yo, halo.
Hai, I'm
Yo.
back.
Halo. Semoga enjoy ya. Gak masuk akal ya. Udah mau tidur bilang ya.
Belum.
Alright. Mami wanted the fruit of youth. Apain anjir Mami?
Nah, ini udah paling benar. Si maminya pasti mau itu.
Oh itu Tokijiko. Where was Setsu killed?
Kamu tahu game ini dari mana?
Lihat di Steam. Setsu was killed in the basement corridor. Itu kalau lehernya kena potong harusnya darahnya banyak di koridor nggak sih? Kan leher lo yang di lain.
Enggak, itu dia di koridor itu titik-titik itu dari
Pick. Jadi ya berarti
senjatanya.
maksudnya si Setsunya berarti bukan di kill di koridornya itu kan?
Bukan di storeroom.
Ya oke. Pemikiran berarti. Ngantuk.
Maaf jam 11.
Ya udah mau tidur.
Nanggung ya, selesai
Ya,
ini
habis
dulu
yang ini
kali
dulu
ya.
kali ya, ya. Baru chapter 1 ya kan. Hahaha. It was already missed after. Wow. Aduh, stick gue error mulu. Let's receive the key from Kinsaku.
Lagi ya si Ginsaku ini.
Apa tuh?
Si Setsu itu kan loversnya, tapi kok dia kayak nggak surprise gitu ya?
Setsu itu kenapa kata gue?
Loversnya dia kan?
Oh iya iya. Tapi kenapa nggak surprise pas dia mati gitu ya? Kayak nggak morning atau apa
atau
gitu
kayak
ya?
gimana gitu?
Morning lah ya. Kinsaku wouldn't have given the mummy. Ya masuk akal sih ya.
Biar kelihatan bukan ini ya, bukan maksudnya kalau maminya yang bunuh.
Punya kunci.
Saya itu kan dikunci dari luar kan?
Yap.
Enggak sih. Itu kayak enggak deh.
Yang tadi barusan.
Heeh.
Alright. The Tokijiku is gone.
Tapi kan dia yang bawa.
Iya, dia yang bawa ya.
Setsu
Ngapain
yang
dia
bawa
makan
bukan sih
juga?
Tokijiku itu?
Iya, dia yang bawa. Ngapain juga dia kalau pengen makan, ngapain dia bawa gitu ya? Cuma dia pengen jual nggak sih? With to hide the Tokijiku. Gak juga lah. Aneh.
Oh dia buat apa gitu orang
Iya,
ya udah
orang-
mati.
Ya dia juga udah pengen bawa dari awal kan. Maksudnya berubah pikiran gitu di tengah jalan. Dan aku kurencana tuh Setsu. Tampar. Setsu mulutnya manis. Last one. They must have special relationship. Insaku loves Setsu. Affair ya, affair ya. Oke, Mol, siap-siap. The truth is
Well then, let's go through our reasoning. What do you find most unusual about this case?
ya, Mol.
Aduh,
Yang unusual.
ya aku nggak kebaca dia.
Yang pertama, the scene of the crime.
Kamu aja yang jawab.
Scene of the crime. Yang kedua, things the killer used for the murder. Yang kedua, yang ketiga itu the mummy. Yang keempat itu others. Yang menarik tuh yang mana?
Kali ya.
Scene of the crime.
Apa dong kamu aja yang jawab.
Kalau scene of the crime kan tempatnya udah jelas gak sih? Dia matinya di storeroom ya kan? Scene-nya itu loh paling ya maksudnya udah jelas kan matinya di situ. Kalau the things the killer use udah pasti pedang. Nah yang the mummy-nya ini kan agak aneh gak sih? Emang dia bisa hidup? Atau siapa gitu yang ada di yang disguise di maminya gitu loh.
Oh ada.
Kalau ada boleh kita lihat sih. The Ginsaku had the key. Is he the killer? What was Setsu planning kalau why did Ginsaku give Setsu the key? Pilih yang mana yo? Kalau Setsu planning kan udah jelas kan dia cuma pengen ngerusak barang kan biar harganya turun kan. Why did Ginsaku give Setsu the key? Ya karena dia nggak bisa review Setsu. Udah jelas kan maksudnya dua ini nih. Ginsaku had the key. Is
Karena
he the
dia
killer?
lost ya.
Ya kalau Ginsaku had the key is he the killer? Actually kan gimana? Kayaknya kan yang pas kita turun ke basement itu tuh, yang pas ketemu sama si cowok yang pakai jas itu kan, Kita kan sebelumnya kan lihat si Ginsaku kan. Ginsaku kan lagi baca buku tuh. Berarti actually dia nggak mungkin di bawah dong gitu loh. Si Ginsaku ini karena kan kita lihat dia
Iya,
lagi baca
jauh
buku di
kan.
ruangan dia kan. Ya, ruangan dia pun di lantai 2. Lantai 2 apa mana ya? Gak tahu deh, pokoknya dia lagi di ruangan dia baca buku kan. Sedangkan kita langsung turun ke bawah ke basement terus ketemu sama yang si Matsumoto ya, siapa? Ya, mau pilih yang mana jadinya?
Menurut kamu emang killernya siapa ya?
Belum tahu lah.
Oh, nggak mau spekulasi ya?
Ya, jadi gue mau pilih yang mana yo? Kalau salah bisa diulang. Tenang aja.
Mungkin A kali ya.
Oke. The hypothesis that intriguing is Ginsaku wouldn't have given the mummy the key. Ginsaku left the key on purpose. Oke. Pilih yang mana gue?
B.
Ginsaku left the key on purpose. That place
Nggak
suspicion on
kebaca
Ginsaku.
ya aku.
Masa iya sih? Emang streamingnya jelek banget gambarnya.
Mungkin sinyal aku jelek.
Ya aku jelas, coba gue kualitasnya dinaikin. Mungkin gue kualitasnya 144 kali.
Oke, set.
Pokoknya udah ngantuk ya elah.
$7.20 ya?
Ya, tadinya berapa emang?
Aduh.
Tadinya berapa emang?
Apa?
Tadinya berapa emang?
144 dia otomatis.
Parah lu, gue udah streaming 720p dia di 144 nontonnya dong. Buat apa gue upload gede-gede?
Barusan.
Ini udah gue mau pilih apa? Udah yakin
Barusan
belum?
doang bentar. Sebelumnya bagus.
Berarti gue suspicious sama si Ginsakunya.
Enggak sebenarnya.
Terus? Mau diulang lagi summary-nya?
Aku malah sama Joshua.
Ya udah ulang lagi. Gimana sama si Joshua, kan kita udah bareng dia terus. Yaudah nih, mau pilih apa lagi nih? What intriguing.
The Mummy aja lah, The Mummy aja.
Oke, terus
B kali ya.
nih, apakah Anda yakin akan saya lock?
Enggak ya, nggak usah ya.
Itu terserah. Yang menurut kue bikin penasaran aja kan, yang intriguing.
Iya, itu aja. PB.
The hypothesis that intriguing is, ayo. No one, Ginsaku, Kinu, Masanori.
Kinu
berarti yang cewek yang pertama kali datang dari lobby itu. Yang itu, yang kan kita kan lihat mumi nih ya kan. Kita langsung lari ke atas kan, ke lobby kan. Itu pertama kali yang kita lihat tuh si Kinu. You sure dia bisa secepat
Masanori
itu?
yang mana ya?
Masanori yang lihat bareng kita sama mumi. Masanori yang bareng kita turun itu.
Kayak Kinu aja deh, yang paling mungkin.
Justru Kinu tuh nggak mungkin karena langsung ketemu sama si Kinu.
Bisa cepet kok, itu kan cuman take off. Itu doang.
Reknya itu ya.
Lagi pula dia paling memungkinkan. Kalau Masanori, kita kan bareng dia.
Ya. Oke, berarti kita mau lock di Kinu nih ya.
Ginsaku
yang si love-nya si.
Kayaknya aku B deh. Apa? Kinu.
Oke, kita kunci ya bang. We can't possibly accept the mummy is still alive. The mummy we saw moving in the basement corridor must have been someone in disguise. Whatever the objective may be, the fact that someone used a mummy as a disguise is crucial to this. Oke, apakah sudah finish? Apakah Anda yakin?
Ya.
Oke. Biar cepat tidur ya, Bang ya.
Have you got your thoughts in order?
Enggak.
Yes.
Tapi
The
siapa
answer
lagi?
must be somewhere within our hypothesis thus far.
Oke.
Excuse me, everyone.
Yes. The auction will be cancelled, of course. Once the police get here, they'll ask many questions, and I must ask all of you to leave.
Please, let me speak for a moment. This is going to be about Setsu's murder. One of us here is the killer, perhaps.
What?
I'll explain what I've figured out so far. First,
Wait a minute. Are we to let you play detective? I will not stand to be called a criminal based on some amateur's haphazard guesses.
No kinu.
The killer is among us, you say?
Tidur lu ya.
Enggak. Tadi kamu bilang apa? Kino.
There'll be real consequences if you're wrong. But if you're willing to take that risk, so be it. Let's hear you out.
Kok deg-degan ya? Takut
thank
salah ya?
you.
Enggak apa-apa kan ini pilihan
First.
kau ya.
About the mummy we saw.
Nanti ulang lagi.
Right before the auction was to start at noon, Josie and I went to the storeroom. Masanori was there too. That was when we saw the mummy, wielding a blood-stained sword. Or so we thought at the time in our panic. But after some calm reflection, I think it's more likely that...
Ayo jawab.
Itu. Someone was disguised as the mummy.
It must have been someone in disguise.
Guys.
Disguise, huh? That makes sense.
Disguise.
Of course. After murdering Setsu, the killer dressed up as the mummy and appeared in front of us.
In that case, whoever wasn't in the lounge when you saw the mummy must be the killer.
Kino, you were the only one in the lounge at that time.
No.
The three of us saw the mummy.
Which means...
Wait a minute. Where are you going with this nonsense?
But you're the only one who could have appeared in front of them as the mummy.
Is he the killer?
Ginsaku.
Ayo, pilih.
Not the killer.
Gue masih pikir si Kinu yang killernya.
Iya.
Nggak dengar tadi diomonginnya apa.
Coba mapnya gimana, Bu?
Nggak dengar barusan diomonginnya apa.
Lihat map dulu, lihat map.
Nih, basement ya kan. Nah, ini entrance hall nih.
Oh, jauh kan dari study room ke mami.
Dari apa? Storage room ke mami.
Study room.
Oke. Study room di sini kan jauh kan?
Study.
Ya jauh, jadi nggak mungkin Ginsaku. Udah, berarti not the killer ya. Are you sure? Oke.
Ya.
Ginsaku isn't the killer. Nor was he the person disguised as a mummy.
How can you be so sure? But no one else had the time to dress up like that.
The reason Ginsaku isn't the killer is...
Jawab lagi, jawab lagi.
Terus geser. Itu.
Ini.
Lu bantu gue dong, anjir, susah.
Bisa jadi nggak sih kalau misalkan ya nggak tahu lah. Yuk. Oke, just a game.
Ingat gak? Dia nggak punya waktu juga untuk naro key-nya di Mami, ya nggak sih?
Ya. Jadi jawaban gue yang mana?
Kan yang ke bawah untuk pertama kali itu kan si cowok kan?
Ya ada namanya tuh.
Si Masanori.
Ya, itu yang bareng lihat ke muminya itu kan. Terus?
Lagi pula lihat deh. Yang paling membutuhkan si buah itu kan si antik dealer ya nggak sih? Si Kinu loh.
Si Kinu.
Ya.
Oke, terus?
Kayaknya dia motifnya ada gitu untuk mencuri.
Yang mau buahnya kan si Josue sama si Yoshino mal.
Ya kan kita nggak tahu.
Ya tapi kan berdasarkan clue-clue yang ada kan
dari...
Enggak, ini kan kita kan berdasarkan clue-clue yang ada tuh nggak ada yang bilang si Kinu itu mau mal. Iya, hipotetis kan dari clue kan.
Ya udah, menurut Anya apa?
Nggak apa-apa, ini jadi yang penting jawab dulu aja nih yang ini nih. Why Ginsaku isn't the killer?
Kalau yang B apa?
Ginsaku couldn't stand up.
Yang di tengah. Enggak. Kayaknya yang ketiga deh.
Oke, kata kunci. Terlalu lama.
Ginsaku love Sensu.
Ginsaku isn't the killer because he and Setsu were lovers. Apologies for eavesdropping, but I overheard the two of them speaking intimately. I don't believe that Ginsaku could have killed Setsu.
Is that so? Love can burn so intensely that it turns to hate, you know.
Nah, tuh bener tuh, hati-hati tuh.
I loved Setsu with all my heart. Although we disagreed on many, many things.
It's difficult to know what someone else is feeling. There's no way we can know how much Ginsaku loves Setsu. It makes no sense to exclude him from suspicion on the basis of his affections.
You're right. Let's try this again.
Kita di sini ngomongin fakta
Ya,
semua
salah ya.
ya. Iya, salah. Medo Sumeri, yes.
Ginsaku isn't the killer. Nor was he the person disguised as a mummy.
Kenapa Ginsaku bukan the killer?
Gini. Yang pertama,
Ginsaku isn't the killer. Because the mummy had the key to the storeroom. After discovering Setsu's body, we found the mummy at the end of the corridor. And it was holding the key.
What do you mean?
Think about it. Above all else, Ginsaku didn't want it known that he had lent Setsu the key.
No one can know.
If Ginsaku was the
you got the
killer,
key from me.
he would never have put the key in the mummy's hand. He would have kept it immediately. Otherwise, he'd be the first person to come under suspicion for this murder.
I see. That's a good point.
Give me a break.
Give me a break.
Ginsaku was not the mummy, so who was it? There's only one person who could have been disguised as the mummy. And that's...
Ayo jawab lagi, Kinu. Masanori.
emang ada pilihan lagi.
No one at the entrance hall.
Kino aja deh, Kino masih pengen dia.
Alright.
There's only one person who could have been the mummy. And that's... you, Kinu.
Me? But I was already in the lounge when you ran in after seeing the mummy, remember?
Wait, you were? Oh, I must be mistaken then.
Don't spout such nonsense!
Sorry.
Oke, maaf.
Nah, aku bilang dia tuh ketemu langsung ketemu kan.
Terus siapa dong no one?
Ya, you cannot rule out all the possibilities gak sih?
Coba.
I don't know.
Ginsaku.
Anjas, setengah 12 kan, Kak?
No one nih. Are you sure?
Ya, coba. Enggak sih.
Ih, anjir udah kemencet lagi.
There's only one person who could have been the mummy. And that person isn't here now.
What do you mean, isn't here?
I'm referring to the victim. And that would be Setsu.
Oh,
Nonsense. She was killed before the mummy incident, was she not?
When was Setsu killed? And that's the crux of the matter.
yo. Apa nih, Mol? Killed before we saw the mummy or killed after we saw the mummy? Oh iya, actually kita kan belum tahu kan si Setsu itu udah mati atau belum pas kita lihat muminya itu. Kan kita pas lihat Setsunya mati itu kan pas kita
Mumi
dobrak.
yang di mana?
Mumi yang gerak itu, mumi yang gerak.
Oh.
Kan kita tahu Setsunya mati itu kan pas kita udah dobrak pintunya kan. Padahal kan sebelum didobrak pintunya itu kan kita nggak tahu si Setsunya ada di dalam situ atau enggak gitu loh. Ternyata Setsunya itu ini
Iya,
mumi yang
bener.
gerak itu loh.
Mami.
Ya, mami yang gerak itu.
Oke.
Berarti killed before or killed after?
pinter dong.
Oke, good point. Tumben pinter.
Setsu was killed after we saw the
Setengah malam
mummy
dia
sometime around noon.
Hold on. Didn't we agree that the murder happened before the mummy incident?
No. We only established that all of us were free to move about before noon, including Setsu.
So, who locked the storeroom door before we saw the mummy?
Setsu did, after she put on her disguise. She disguised herself as the mummy and waited outside the storeroom for us.
Why would she do such a thing?
Setsu went into the storeroom to tamper with everyone else's items, lowering their value while raising the value of her own. She then put on the mummy disguise to make the curse seem credible, thus further increasing the selling price. Buyers love a good backstory, after all.
Ginsaku's mummy, Masanori's sword, Josei's dragon's blood. Setsu staged her living corpse performance using everyone else's items.
After ditching the mummy disguise, she intended to rejoin us and feign complete ignorance.
But then, she was killed.
We know that the mummy was Setsu. Setsu was still alive around noon, which means the murder took place after that. That leaves only one person who could have possibly been the killer. Yes. The person who killed Setsu is...
Siapa, Mol? Oh, lo udah tidur ya? What? Lo? Oh, udah tidur nih orang nih. Alright, sleep tight, Mol. Lanjut nanti lagi ya.
Halo?
Ya, halo.
Halo?
Halo.
Nggak ada suaranya Centennial.
Ketiduran kali kowe.
Enggak, beneran.
Ya, jadi siapa the killernya kira-kira? Yuk, apakah kamu masih ada? Kemute.
Aduh, parah bentar ya. Ini
Alright.
kayaknya yang bisa ke mute otomatis, sebel banget ya.
Lumayan.
Siapa ya? Mas Nori kali ya? Mas Nori.
Oke, pilih.
The person who killed Setsu is... you, Masanori. Isn't it? Straight after the mummy incident, we all gathered here in the lounge, didn't we? It was time for the auction to start, but there was no sign of Setsu. That's when you went looking for her, didn't you? You're the only person who was alone. You left the lounge, went to the storeroom, and killed Setsu. Then you took the key from her, locked the storeroom, and dumped the mummy at the end of the corridor. Once all that was finished, you returned to the lounge. Am I right?
When I went to the storeroom, the door was open. I saw her inside, taking off the mummy disguise. The auction items were all irreparably damaged, so I went up to her and demanded an explanation. Without answering, she suddenly lunged at me, and in the ensuing struggle, that sword just... What happened after that was just as you said. And you know, I thought no one would suspect me if I made use of Setsu's mummy incident. What I said earlier about researching eternal youth, that was a lie. The truth is, someone hired me to search for the Tokijiku.
Tokijiku again, Tokijiku again.
3 days ago, I heard about this gathering from Setsu. I came here today in the hope that someone might bring the Tokijiku. I intended to win the bid, but even if I didn't, I was just going to take it by force after the auction. In some dark alley at night.
The Tokijiku is the only item that's still missing.
Pilih.
X?
You have it, don't you? That fruit was originally mine. Someone stole it from me.
We can assume that Setsu was his thief. Ginsaku, you knew about it, didn't you?
Please give it back to me.
It's not here anymore.
Huh?
As soon as I got it, I handed it off to my employer's lackey outside the manor.
You're lying! Why didn't you run away after that?
Running away is the same as admitting guilt, is it not? That's why I decided to stay. Still, the plan backfired.
Who hired you? There's no reason to hide it anymore.
I think it was the Scarlet Camellia. That's what the lackey said. I've never met them myself. I don't even know if that's their real name.
Scarlet Camellia.
Officers from the Metropolitan Police arrived a while later and arrested Masanori Minami. My family has received the Tokijiku from the Sakakis for generations. And every 100 years, during our cherry blossom ceremony, someone would be chosen to eat the fruit. But the Sakakis were attacked and wiped out by forces who wanted the Tokijiku. My family had but one Tokijiku left. And since the massacre, we've kept it hidden so the world would never know of its existence. That was the fruit my father entrusted me with.
Take this and leave this place now.
Huh? My father's health was poor, and he often stayed in his room, but he was always kind to me. On that day, however, he sounded so serious, so grave. And I just couldn't defy his orders. My father often said that people weren't meant to live without growing old. I think he decided to turn his back on the Shijima family when he gave me the Tokijiku. That's why I have to get it back from this Scarlet Camellia character.
But you still don't know a thing about them. Isn't that dangerous?
But I can't give up.
You certainly are stubborn.
Dibilang
My
batok
father
seneng
often
anjir
said the
kayak
same
siapa
thing.
ya?
I got it from my mother, apparently. But we were separated when I was a baby, so I don't have any memories of her. He only started calling me stubborn after I decided I wanted to be a writer.
A writer?
Yes. I want someone to read the novels I've written, to meet them, and hear about their impressions about my work. That's my dream. But everyone in my family was against it. They told me I should settle down and get married and raise children because the Shijimas are a family of doctors.
Times change. If you're stubborn enough, you'll always find a way.
Batok mo rin.
That's kind of you to say, Jose.
Kind of you to
batuk.
Tell me, why are you after the Tokijiku? It's not something most people know about.
What? Tokijiku? Pilih dong, Bang.
X aja, X.
Is that my Tokijiku? You have one too?
As a prisoner of circumstance, I must keep searching for the Scarlet Camellia while guarding this fruit. The Sakaki family you mentioned, they were destroyed by the Scarlet Camellia. Your father was right. You shouldn't get involved. Eternal youth invites death. Ironic, isn't it? As one who doesn't age, I should know.
What? Uncle Azan? Josie?
Yoshino!
It was my uncle, Azan Shijima, and his companion, Toako.
We've been searching everywhere for you.
Stop right there. You know I don't like it when you smoke.
That's right. Come, let's go back home.
I won't go back!
Your father is worried sick.
You didn't come for me. You want the Tokijiku, don't you?
Wait! Yoshino!
Color palette-nya kayak banyak bener merahnya ya.
Iya.
Agak weird nggak? Pilih.
Atau B,
Gue udah ngantuk ya udah off aja
kalau
kali
dia
ya.
udah capek.
Ya skip cepetin yuk.
Chelsea Kusaka. And I had no one else to rely on.
Woi.
Sleep tight yo. Piringnya A.
Thank you.
Yutun ya, sleep tight yo.